Hi friends, my name is Pankaj Manik Jadhav and today's date is 2nd of September 2021. So our today's video topic is exception handling in Java. So today we will see what is the exception, what are the different types of exception, what are the different methods to handle the exception and different keyword which is used to handle the exception with the examples. So let's start the topic. So first we will see what is the exception. Exception is nothing but the condition which interrupt the continuous flow of the programming. It is an object which throws an exception, means the abrupt condition and discontinue the continuous flow of the program. So we will see with one example. If there is the code of 10 lines with sysout, hi, hello and many others. At the start execution, first line will executed, second line executed, and at the fifth line there is in the sysout 10 by 0. So at that situation, at that line, the exception will be the arises. So at that time, the execution of the process will be the stop. It will check first the exception is the handled or not. If the exception is not handled, so the process of the execution will be the ended and the remaining code after that line will be not executed. So if there is an important code which we have to run, it will be not run due to some exception. So we will see how the exception will become. Exception is extended from the throwable class. Throwable class extends by the two class, the exception and the error. First we will see exception. There are the two types of exception. First one is the checked exception and the second one is the unchecked exception. In the checked exception there is IO exception, SQL exception, and in unchecked exception the exception is arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, string index out of bound exception, null pointer exception. So we will see one by one. First we will see string index out of bound exception. Example, if there is the string A in double quote Pankaj, so there are the 6 characters present in the string. If we sysout and say a dot char at 10th index, so there is no character at the 10th index. So because the string is length is the 6 and we call the character at the 10th position. So at that situation what will happen? The string index out of bound exception will be the arises. Same as array index out of bound exception. So what will happen in the array index out of bound exception? If there is an array integer a, array symbol equals to 1 2 3 4 5, means the length of an array is 5. And if in the sysout we call the array at the 100th position, so what will happen? In this situation no element is present at the 100th index because the length of an element or the array is the 5. So at that situation array index x out of bound exception will be the arises. The another exception is there is arithmetic exception. What is the arithmetic exception? We will see the example. If there is a integer a equal to 10 and integer b equal to 0, and if we make sysout a by b, so what will happen? As per the maths rules, we cannot divide any number by 0. If we do that, so at that situation arithmetic exception throws by the program or the JVM. At that situation arithmetic exception will be shown on the console. Then another one is the null pointer exception. So what will happen in the null pointer exception? In the null pointer exception, if there is the string and which we do not have given any value or we cannot initiate that, and if we sysout that, so at that time it will give the null pointer exception at that time. Exception is extended by the throwable class and error also extended by the throwable class. In the error means which cannot be handled by us. Unfortunately it cannot be handled. So what is the error? So stack memory full is the one of type of the error. Also the memory out of flow, it is also an the error which cannot be handled by the programmer. So we will see how to handle the exception. There are the some keywords to handle the exception. We will see one by one. The first keyword which is used is the try block. Try block cannot be used singly. It must be followed by the catch block. The code which is maybe arises some the exception, means the risky code will be the written in the try block. Even though the exception will be the arises, it will be the handled properly and the continuous program or the flow of a program will be the maintained in this situation. The second keyword we will see the catch block. So what is the catch block? As the same, catch block cannot be used as the single. It must use the try block first before the catch block. So what will happen if the exception will be the arises in the try block? So it will be the handled by the catch block. The another keyword is the finally keyword. Finally keyword is followed by the try block. If the exception will the arises, or even though the exception will not arises, in the both the situation the finally block will be the executed. If there is the most important code, we have to run it at any cost, means even though the exception will be the arises or the exception will be the not arises, the finally block will be the executed. So at that time we put our very important code into the finally block. So even though the exception arise or not, our code will be there in that scenario. The another keyword is the throw keyword. By using the throw keyword, we can throw the exception. We can also throw the synthetic exception, means the exception which is created by us. For example, we will see if there is the banking account and we have to log in. There are the two scenarios in this situation, the wrong password and the hacking. So at the situation, the wrong password, we throw the exception, the wrong password. If you find there are the threats or the situation which is the hacking, so we will throw the exception in that way. So this is the exception which is the thrown by us. The another keyword is the throws keyword. If there are the checked exception which is the present and we put, means for example we use thread.slip, so this is the checked exception, at that time it will show the error at that situation. So if we write or the throws keyword before the method name, so it will the handle, or it will not handle the exception, but the error will be the one at that situation. So if you want to run our program continuously or fluently, so we will handle the exception in the proper way. There is the another one, the nested try class. So if there is a risky code, and in that situation there is the most risky code and we must have to use or we execute that program at that situation. So what does this mean? If we use the multiple try and the catch block inside the try block, means if there is the try block, in that the try block there is the another try block which catch the exception, means there is the risky code. In that situation there is also the most is risky code. At that situation we use that the try nested block. At that situation we can use the multiple catch block for a single try block, but we cannot use a multiple try block for in that situation. Means if there is the single try block, and for the single try block we can use the multiple catch block as the situation. If there is the scenario in the sysout, if we you or the user given the input have the arithmetic exception, means the integer a equal to 10 and integer b equal to 0. So in this situation arithmetic exception will be the arised. So what will happen in this scenario? The try block is the followed by the different catch block. The first catch block we will write the string index out of bound. After that we use the another catch block. The catch block is array index out of bound. After that we use the catch block of array index out of bound, In this art scenario, in the art try block, there is the b by 0 means the 10 by 0. So at that situation, the arithmetic exception will be the thrown. So for knowing that which type of extension and due to the what reason the exception will be the arises, at that situation we use the different catch block for the single try block. We cannot use the multiple try block for the single catch block. So this is for all about the exception handling. Thank you.